So let's see how they do this. I guess they always wait and listen to people build up before I start talking. This is Chester with Native Daily Network. I haven't been on for a while, but I said I would speak a little bit on what happened earlier in the week at the LNG. So I guess I'll wait a few minutes and see if we get a few people on. And we get a few people on, I'll just go ahead and tell the story of what happened, I guess. You know, it's the one thing for sure is we all have to do our part in protecting Mother Earth, and that's basically just another one of those stories of doing what we got to do to protect her. Earlier in the week, I was home. You know, I used to work at LNG quite a bit, about a year ago, and I'm also working at I-940, which is a police brutality and training initiative. And I work with the canoes, and I have my regular job, and I got 4 kids, I got a wife, so I've just been really, really, really busy, and I've been waiting for the opportunity to get back out and pound some pavement for LNG. And the other night, I was watching the video, live streaming, similar to what you guys are doing on the other side right now, and Dakota, Anna, along with Bonita and Darren were down at the LNG site, and there was something about that night that was just very seems spiritual to me. There's something that was strong pulling me to the phone that night. And so what happened is, excuse me, I fell asleep on my couch about 8:30. I woke up and I decided I was going to go to bed early tonight. And so I walked in to go to bed, and my wife, my daughter, my grandbaby, 3 generations were sitting on my bed. And so I decided I'd stay up and check out Facebook for a little while. When I was there, I came across that video I was talking about with Dakota, Anna, Darren, and Bonita. And I've been saying for the last couple of months, I wish I had the time to go be part of this. And the work they were doing down there seemed so passionate that night that I determined this was it. This was the time. I need to get up, get off the couch, and get down there and fight with my brother and my sisters. And so I yelled to the wife, I'll be back later. I got to run down to the LNG site. There's something going on, and I need to be there. And so I headed down there, and as I was on my way, I kept watching the video, and I seen the arrogance in the workers, especially that flagger. And I seen the arrogance in the officer that was protecting capitalism, protecting these big companies. And so I decided, it's time to take it to a new level. And what I meant by that was, when I got there, I blew through a red light, and I yelled at the cop, "See, you're blowing through a red light, come stop me now." Cop didn't do nothing, did not do nothing. He sat there and he protected the capitalism, protected big oil, protected big money. And so I parked my car and I went over and I started talking with the family there on the corner, and Tisha showed up, and we got talking about standing in the road and it's blocking the road. And there was something about it that I think we knew at that point that things might go to a level that it hadn't gone to yet. No one had been arrested at that point, and we had all decided we were all prepared to go to that level. And by then, Tisha had showed up. She was part of the conversation, and Bonita decided to run home and get me a copy of the stop work order. We thought was a stop work order at the time. And so I wanted to review it. For a lot of people who don't know, I used to be the public defender for our tribe, so I do have some legal background. I'm not an attorney. I'm an advocate, but I do understand some legal documents. And so I wanted to see them because I had a plan of how to serve that flagger which said he was a Native American. Once he acknowledged he was Native American, if we would have served him, if we had the documentation, he'd be held accountable within our tribal jurisdiction also. So I had this grand scheme going on in my head. So Bonita went to go get him, and while she was gone to get them, tribal police had showed up and was trying to figure out what was going on. And I let them know we were going to get these documents. We were going to go through them, and we were going to present them to them, and that we wanted to see the permit that we know they don't have. We know the LNG company, the companies working down there, do not have the permits. And that's what these stop work orders were based on, these requests. And so when the Bonita showed up with the documentation, I was going through it, and we realized they were the request that the tribe had filed. They hadn't been signed off by a judge at that point. And I don't know, at this point, I don't know if they have been or not. I haven't asked our legal or our counsel. So we were basing it off the fact that we knew they had no work order, no permitting for the air quality. And so we still decided enough was enough. We're being told that we can't be in the street, that they can't stop them from working. They can't stop them from doing the legal activity. But we have to stand there and watch it, and that we would be arrested if we decided to block any trucks and or any traffic. And I'll tell you, sometimes the consequences are worth the actions. And I think for myself and my other sisters and brothers there, it was that point. You guys are putting so much hard work into singing, dancing, praying down there, and they just keep continuing to work. And so I agreed that when Dakota went, I'd be following. We had some others that were going to follow behind us. And Dakota actually had stood in front of that blockade 6 times where the vehicle had pulled up. They opened the gates and they had backed off. And I just remember each time saying, once he goes, here we go. Then I knew I was committed. I knew I was there. But I was prepared for it. I was prepared to do whatever I need to that night. And so on the last one, that 4th vehicle had pulled, or a blue truck had pulled up. I think it was the 6th one that backed off. As soon as he backed off, a yellow truck came up. And he was continuing towards Dakota Case. He was not slowing down for Dakota. He was probably going a good mile or 2 an hour, just creeping along and kept coming. And when law enforcement jumped in front of him, or went to go to arrest him, another officer actually had to jump on the truck and pound on it and tell him to stop. That infuriated me even more. That these guys are willing to hurt us. A lot of people say, oh, these guys are just doing their jobs. But my grandma used to tell me, the devil's money is the devil's money, and God's money is God's money. And when you take the devil's money, you're making a deal with him, and that money don't last. That money burns through it. And when you make a deal with God, and you do good, you do the Creator's work, and you do it in a good way, that money lasts. And I'm not just when I say money, I'm talking about the currency. But I'm talking about love. I'm talking about compassion, respect, and things like that come along with that. And so as my brother was being arrested and being taken away, I started to think in my own head, do I wait for this truck or do I do the next truck? And before I can even think about the second part of my thought process, do I wait for the next truck? My feet were already moving forward. I was already ready to go in front of that vehicle. And when I stood there, our tribal law enforcement tried to ask me to back off. Chester, just move. And I didn't answer him. I ignored him. At that point, there was nothing no one could say, because I was thinking about why I was there and why I was about to tell this story. And it goes back to the beginning of my story. My wife, my daughter, my granddaughter, my children, my mother, my ancestors. That's what it's about. Being raised the right way. To respect those that came before us and fought so hard for so many different things to give us life today. To leave a good world in a peaceful place for our children going forward. It's our job as Native people, and I say as human people, but we were taught as Natives 7 generations. We don't do today for ourselves. We do today for 7 generations ahead. And that's what that rest was about. To spend 7-8 hours in jail is so minimal compared to what we need to leave, or in this case, may not be able to leave to our future kids, to my kids' kids, to my kids' kids' grandkids. And that's what these fights are about. People judge us as we were pulling into the jail. Finally, they call us the hippies. Well, I don't know what a hippie is. I'm just an individual that loves my people and loves Mother Earth and wants to leave the world a better place than when I came into it. And to see the destruction of Mother Earth throughout this country and throughout this world, it's a heartache on my heart, because that's what we're leaving for our children. You know, it makes me think of when I was a child. I used to hear stories about the salmon, because I'm a commercial fisherman all my life, raised on the banks of the Puyallup River. And I remember seeing so many fish down there, a couple hundred fish a tide for each boat. And my elders say, this is nothing. You should have seen it back in the days when I was a kid and we could walk across the rivers, abundance of fish. Well, I compare that to today when my kids or someone says, wow, there's a lot of fish in the river. And I say to them, that's nothing. You should have seen it back when I was a kid. We used to catch a couple hundred fish a tide. And it just makes me, if you just keep repeating that history, we're going to leave our babies nothing. And for that, we got to continue to fight. Not just for LNG, but for all of Mother Earth. For all of mankind. Pick a brother and a sister up. You know, help them up once in a while. Everyone says, oh, they're just bums or they're just on drugs. But, you know, sometimes it takes a hand. Put a hand out, offer the hand. It's their choice to take it. But it's our choice to offer it. And I just challenge each and every one of us to help someone tomorrow. Help Mother Earth tomorrow. And then when you wake up the next day, make that a challenge too. And so, yes, that's what my reasoning for going to jail was for the future generations and to honor my ancestors. So, you know, if I be judged for that, I guess I'll have my day in court. And I'll let that judge know the exact same thing I'm telling you today. Sometimes the consequences are worth the actions. And, you know, when that five officer asked me if I wasn't going to move, I told him the same thing I'll tell that judge. Some things are bigger than me, and this one is bigger than me. So that's my story. Maybe my brother Dakota will share his with you sometime soon. With that, peace out. Love you all.